Going to go back and do a little factoring again. Not a whole, pretty general here. We're going to factor a squared minus b squared, a to the third plus b to the third, and a to the third minus b to the third. Date is 2/12/14. The first one is called the difference of perfect squares. And that is a squared minus b squared. It will always factor to a plus b times a minus b. That's simple. It only works when you have the difference of perfect squares. This is a perfect square because it's a squared, right? This is a perfect square because it's b squared. And this means, what does that minus mean? What word? Difference, right? That's why it's called the difference of perfect squares. So if I had x squared minus 9, is that a perfect square? Hold up, I will let everybody get caught up. Okay, is that a perfect square, x squared? Is 9 a perfect square? Yes. So is it the difference of perfect squares? Yes, because that means difference, correct? So I take the square root there, which is x. What's the square root of 9? 3. What do I put here? Plus, minus. How hard's that? That's pretty easy, isn't it? But that's only when you have the what? Difference means what? Minus perfect squares means perfect square. Which we've dealt with perfect squares a lot over the last 3 weeks, haven't we? We ought to have an idea what those perfect squares are. What makes a variable a perfect square? It has a even power, doesn't it? So if I had x to the 6th minus 16, even though I don't think you're going to deal with this any in your, what is that a perfect square? Yes, that's x to the 3rd, isn't it? So x to the 3rd is the square root of that. Is that a perfect square? So 4, what do I put? Plus, minus. Easy peasy, huh? So that's one of our rules, our shortcuts. The last 2 sections have just been shortcuts, haven't they? If you've got something in that form, you know that's the factoring answer, correct? Next one is something in this form. Believe it or not, this one is pretty easy. it becomes a plus b. And it says this is a squared minus ab plus b squared. That's your other rule. Here's the thing sometimes, though. They're going to give you a number. And for this, you're going to have to find what's called the cube root. The square root was what number could I what? Square and get that. What do you think the cube root is? What number could I cube and get that? First of all, I can answer what if a, what's a in this case? X. The question is, what is b? What number could I multiply times itself 3 times and get 27 as the answer? The number is 3. So see, once you figure out what a is and what b is, isn't it just a matter of plugging it in? So what's the first thing you're going to do? Write it in this form. To where it jumps, you know exactly what b is and what. This part's easy, isn't it? Your a is x plus, what's your b? 3 times a, which is x squared, right? Minus whatever a is, what's a? X times whatever b is, what's b? Plus whatever b is, which is what? 3 squared. Now just clean this up a little. X squared stays x squared. What does this become? Minus what? 3x plus what? 9. There's your answer. The easier thing about both these sections is we're just using formulas, aren't we? You just have to be able to figure out what A is and what B is. You sure you're done? Yeah. Okay. You guys okay on that? Any questions? Yes, no, maybe? Good. Glad we're okay with that. What's the only other one left? What was the other thing left? A to the third minus what? B to the third. What is our rule for that? Well, you get A minus B, A squared plus AB plus what? Is it plus B squared?
It's minus AB, but
I do have minus AB.
on the
No. Oh, you know where we made a mistake? I am sorry, guys. I glanced up. Let's go back to our previous one. Oh, no, I didn't. I put minus, didn't I? Isn't that weird that the one with the plus has a minus right there? And the one with the plus has a plus right there, minus right there. The one with the minus has a what? Minus right there, what? Plus right there. If it's a minus b, the minus is there, the plus is there. If it's a plus b, the plus is there and the minus is there. Thanks, Connie. You confused me.
I thought we were doing.
Okay. This is your rule for when it's a to the third minus b to the third. So let's now do an example. To me, the key here is finding what A is and what B is. Would you guys agree on that? Because once you do that, you just plug A and B in. But that can be a little hard. Are the variables the easy part? What's the variable here? Does everyone agree? Because x times x times x is x to the third, right? What's the variable here? Okay, that's easy. The number is what can be a little harder. Now, there is a function on your calculator that will do this for you. And I'll show you that in just a second. But first, let's try to think of it in mind. What number could I multiply times itself 3 times and get 8 as an answer? 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 again is? So if I put 2 there, this and this are the same, right? Isn't that what we're going for? And I know now that A is what? 2x. Does everybody see that? Well, I already did the y part. What number could I multiply times itself 3 times and get 64 as an answer? 4 times 4 is what? Times 4 is? Now, isn't it amazing how fast those numbers get pretty big? Does everybody see that right there? Do you guys see that? See how there's a square root sign and there's an x right there? Is everybody looking up here? It doesn't look like everybody's looking up here. See how there's an x right there? That means something root, 5th root, 4th root. When there's nothing there, like right here, it's understood to be a square root. Okay? So this is the button you use when you're wanting something bigger than a square root, like a cube root. But you want a cube root here, so you write the number 3. Second, that means the cube root, means the cube root of 64. That 3 is in front to denote that 3 is the what we're making the x. Does that make sense? You know, if you did a 4th root, you'd put a 4 there. That's a decimal. Let me think of a 4th root that comes out even. 3. The 4th root of 81 is 3 because 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 81. So you guys see how to do that on your calculator. Okay? If you don't have a calculator that does that and you have a smartphone, I promise you there's an app that'll do roots for free. Okay? Back to this problem. Now let's plug everything in here. What am I going to put in for A? 2x minus, what am I putting in for B? All of that times, what am I putting in for A? 2x, all of that what? And I want you to use parentheses. plus, what's A? Times B plus whatever B is squared. What's B? Nothing to clean up there. However, there is something to clean up here. Why do I have parentheses around the 2 and the x? Because what am I going to multiply? Both of them times themselves, right? So 2 times 2 is what? X times x. Everybody see how I went from here to here? 2 times 4. X times y. 4y squared plus what? 4 times 4? 16. Y times y? And you're done, aren't you? Expect to see this on your paper. Then this. Any questions? Have to see all steps and work. Have to write the problems. If you don't, it's a 0. So what do I mean by showing the steps and work? Show exactly what you see right up here. Except I'd appreciate it if you put an equal sign right there. I want to see this. I want you to see you write it like that. Does that make sense? I want you to tell me what A and B are by doing that. Then go to that. 1, 2, 3 steps, and then it's just clean it up. You guys can do that. Trevor and James, do you guys have the practice test to turn in? Huh? Yes.
Am I doing this right? Because, I mean, I wasn't here, so I'm like trying to do as best as I can, but for this,
Most of it should be, for the most part, be review. Okay, what are we looking at here? You want to know whether it did this right?
yeah.
Yeah, you're just combining like terms. Okay, you got 2x to the 4th, y to the 3rd. Are there any more of those? Are you adding this to it?
Because that would come out.
Are you adding these two together? I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
So that would be 4, wouldn't it?
Hold on. Oh, I can't see them out because I'm student. Because, no, see.
And this would be what? 1.
No, that would be 1 because
Wow.
1 would be right here because of the x3, x2. I just act, that should be in front actually.
But these are like terms according to what you have here.
Yeah, and they're right here. That, those terms come down to right here. x3, y2, x3, y2.
Say clause.
So,
You forgot to do this.
Yeah, I
So
forgot to
this
put
should be
the 4 out.
4x to the 4th. I got you. That went with that. As long as you're adding them correctly, these are not like terms.
yeah, they're not this way. They're not.
I think that's right. I'm just having problems lining up. Gosh. If you have that, that's like term is that should be 1, x squared, x to the 3rd y. Good. That one's like term. Doesn't have a like term with it, does it? So this should be 2, right? X, we have another xy squared term. We do right here and right here, so that should be a. See, these are like terms, aren't they? Right? So that's gone and make that a -2, right? Right? You see how these they're like terms, so that should, you know. And then are there any other y squared terms right there? We made that -1 good. Are there any other number terms there? And then I guess there was a y term. Yeah, you're good now.
And
It's just combining like terms.
Do I need to do this?
Yeah, I'll do it right now. What time is it?